How's it going, guys? Bradley from Helium 10. I'm joined by Boyan, our Chief Technology Officer. And we are talking about something that has some sellers thinking that the sky is falling. Oh my goodness, what's going on? They're saying there is no more search volume or relevancy available to software tools out there. And now I'm not going to be able to research my keywords. Everything's ruined. No. First of all, before we get too much into detail, a lot of you guys might be thinking, what in the world are we talking about here? What is search volume? What is relevancy? What got shut down? Boyan, real briefly, for somebody who's new to the game, what can you explain about what's going on right now? What is this search volume and relevancy that we're talking about here?
So if you're building a product, if you're building a listing for a product, you're selling on Amazon, you have a listing that describes your product. You have some phrases there that are kind of describing, capturing the essence of your product. So for those particular phrases, you would like to know how frequently Amazon buyers are searching for a product using those terms, and also how closely Amazon sees that those phrases are related to your product. So there are various ways of measuring that. So essentially capturing that searchability or frequency, and also connectivity between product and keyword. One of the methods that surfaced about a year and a half ago or close to that is using endpoint like data, source of data that apparently comes from Amazon. It was perceived as actual search volume coming from Amazon, and also the relevancy of specific keyword for a specific product.
All right. So we actually see that. For those of you who are Helium 10 members, you see that, we have columns that says exact phrase search volume and in broad phrase search volume, which tells you approximately how many times something's been searched over the last 30 days. Now, one thing that you don't see, though, that we just mentioned is a relevancy score. We've always seen that relevancy score there, but we've never implemented that into Helium 10. Why haven't we, Boyan?
So, obviously, there are various ways to infer how relevant specific keywords for a specific product is, and especially in terms of Amazon. If you're already selling on Amazon, just by looking at your position for a specific term, you can infer how Amazon perceives your product. If you rank number one, that for specific term, Amazon essentially thinks, hey, this keyword and this product are closely tied together. If you rank 305 for a specific keyword, that probably means that Amazon doesn't see your product very, very relevant for that keyword, or that keyword is very relevant for your product. So there are various ways of describing that relationship. The endpoint, that data source that included the term relevance was not documented. So we don't really know, like nobody outside Amazon knows what that relevance means. It could be just magic word that came out somehow to some developer, like, oh, let's use relevance and confuse everybody. So the term was not documented. The data, the value is not documented. It's just a number between 0 and 1. You can multiply by 100 and say, hey, 86% relevant. It's not the percent. Like the actual data point, the value is a number between 0 and 1.
Yeah.
0.375. So it was not clear what the value of that is. It was not clear how to affect any change, how to optimize your listing to get better. You can try different things. Eventually, you will succeed. But by doing that, you might actually have some negative impact on some other aspect of your listing.
True.
So it wasn't clear what it means, and it wasn't clear how to increase it or decrease it, and is it worth it or not.
Yeah, so I did a lot of tests. Those of you guys who know me, you guys know I'm always about the data and always doing tests. And I've been searching for months trying to find a different way that we could use that score, and I just couldn't. I thought, okay, well, is it a guarantee to help me with a launch? So I had something that had a 0.46 score, right? And I got that to page 1, no problem. It wasn't 0.99 or anything like that. I had another keyword that was like a 0.98 score. So you would think, okay, if we multiply that by 100, it's 98% relevant. I couldn't get that one past, page 3. Other times I was doing research on a iPhone X tempered glass, and it told me that iPhone 6 tempered glass, that keyword, had a 0.99 score compared to the iPhone X. Now we know you cannot put an iPhone 6 tempered glass, on an iPhone X, so that number was completely useless there too. My ultimate theory was maybe it had something to do with PPC or something, but now that I don't have access to that number anymore, I can't continue my studies. But the bottom line is both of these two things, all the different tools, or many different tools, were using this endpoint, from Amazon to give this data. That's why, most tools who had, search volume and stuff, you compare the tools, it's kind of like the same number. It's because everybody was getting it from the same place, and now that's been cut off. Now, this happened before in July for like a day. This one endpoint closed, another one opened, and then everything was back to normal. Could that happen tomorrow where something opens? Maybe it could be. But if it doesn't, Boyan, this is not really the end of the world, is it? I mean, is all of a sudden now Helium-10 not going to have any estimated search volume at all, or?
Right. So we had the estimated search volume before this new data source was discovered. And when you think about keyword research, there are two aspects to it. Like, one is classification. You're just trying to figure out if specific keyword is relevant for a specific product or not. So it's either relevant or related to it or not. The other aspect is you want to prioritize those keywords. So you're looking to identify 50 to 100 keywords that are relevant for your product and for your niche, and then you're looking to prioritize those so you can put some emphasis when you're building your listing and running promotions on those top keywords. So we already have tools, and we released a few months ago. We released a simplified version of one of our tools, and you can run a competitor analysis, so you can identify relevant keywords by looking at your competitors. So and that data also comes in a way from Amazon. By looking at top performing keywords for your top competitors, you can isolate those keywords that are clearly relevant for your niche. Now, once you have that list, so with Cerebro ASIN, multi-ASIN, if somebody's not familiar with that, they should get familiar. Like, it's great help for every Amazon seller. Once you identify that set of keywords, the way you prioritize it could be by that search volume coming from the recently deceased source. There are other ways to prioritize, obviously. So you can look at trends. You can infer from history. So if I had that data available, I could make an inference, and I can decide based on available data that one keyword is more relevant or more important than another keyword. So it doesn't really matter if you have 5 keywords. It doesn't really matter if the top one is attached to number 17,365 or number 765. What matters is if one keyword is higher value target than some other keyword. Yeah. So to have that relative positioning, we already have tools in place. We're already using some of that and exposing some of that to our user base. We spent months developing tools. We spent years, but we spent months, and it wasn't just like me and a couple of other guys. Like, half of the team, like more than a dozen people, are working on that, collaborating. So we're spending a lot of time getting data, acquiring that data, finding different ways to model data and interpret and come up with better actionable data for our users.
Yeah. So guys, if you're using Helium-10 already, especially you guys should not be too worried about this, because for those of you who've been in my trainings, I've talked about what I call real world relevancy, and that's is a product does it have a good chance to convert sales for you? And actually right now, Cerebro, the multi-ASIN search, comparing competitor ASINs, that's like the #1 way to find real world relevant keywords to your listing, guys. So if you don't know how to use that, look up the videos here on YouTube or here on our pro training on our website, and you'll find out exactly what we've been doing even before this, regardless of if we're using exact phrase, search volume. So guys, this didn't catch us, by surprise. I mean, Boyan, when I first came to the company in July, we had conversations like, oh yeah, one day we know that this is gonna probably go away. So Boyan has actually been working on, contingency plans and machine learning and artificial intelligence and a whole bunch of crazy stuff that's going to bring on the apocalypse from Terminator. I don't know about that, but he's been working on some good stuff that's going to help you guys. But you're not gonna skip a beat. All right, maybe you use helium 10 and you use other tools and you don't see exact phrase, quote unquote exact phrase search volume anymore. Maybe in the future. All right, guys, that's not the end of the world. Helium 10, we can only speak for ourselves. We're going to continue to have estimated, search volume that's based on, real historical data, and we're going to continue to be able to use Cerebro and use that relevancy. So there's not too much, to worry about going forward, guys. The sky is not falling. All right, sellers, the sky is not falling. Don't worry about it. So before we go ahead and let everybody go, is there anything else you wanted to say about this, Boyan?
Just to reiterate that, like we're nothing's really changing. That one crutch that was available is gone, but there's more data, that we have more experience. Everything is better than it was a year ago. So not having that specific data point doesn't really affect the game. Like it just makes it more obvious who's doing the job and who's not.
Yeah. All right, guys. So keep on crushing it, and I'll see you guys in the next training or in the next video. And you might see Boyan. I'm gonna have to invite Boyan more on our AMAs. We haven't had you, Boyan, on an AMA yet. We're gonna bring Boyan on an AMA. You guys can ask him all the kinds of cool technical questions you have about helium 10. All right. We'll see you guys later.
Okay. Bye, guys.